Hey guys, this is Josh. I'm gonna make a quick video today for you on how to unfork yourself. If you're like me, this may be a lifelong endeavor to try and get unforked, but for today, we're just gonna focus on the Qortal blockchain and what the fork we're talking about. Okay, enough of those references. So, if you're on the blockchain, you may have heard a reference around forking. What happens there is if you diverge off of the main chain, you're no longer going to be minting court, which is going to be a problem for you, and you're going to have to get back onto the main chain. So we're going to talk about how to know if you are on a fork and how to solve that. This is going to be a very quick video for you guys. So how to identify if you are indeed forked, which many of us are. Number one, open your Chordal user interface. Once you're inside the Chordal user interface, you go and click on the Node Management tab in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. And then third, you're going to compare your block height to your peers. Very simple process, and I'll show you what that looks like. Inside your Chordal user interface, you can see here on the bottom left-hand side, you've got the Node Management tab. Once you're in Node Management, you're going to see a bunch of these IP addresses, which are your peer nodes, along with their current block height. Simply compare your block height in your user interface, which in my case here, and I am in a fork, is 371,274. And you can see in green, it says that I am minting. The main blockchain, which essentially is going to be the common height amongst my peers, and the top block height is 371,468. Now I've got more peers than is just shown here in this screenshot. There are many, many peers that had this common number. So it was easy for me to determine 371,468 was the main blockchain. Now, if you are minting and you're within a few blocks of this, let's say half a dozen or so, I wouldn't worry that you're on a fork. In my case, I am about 200 blocks behind, so it is very apparent to me that I'm on a fork. You can be on a fork 50 blocks behind as well. So this is just a way to get a quick check into it and understand if you are minting and you are not at or right around the main blockchain height, you are likely on a fork. Now, the other box that I've got highlighted is a good way to start to check a few settings for yourself. So what I always do is I check my time accuracy. You can do this by right-clicking on the Chordal icon in the top system taskbar and check time accuracy. It'll open up a web browser and it'll look just like this. And here I know my time is exact, so that's not the issue as to why I may be off the main chain and not fully synchronized and potentially on a fork at this point. Next, I always try restarting the Chordal core first. And I can't emphasize this enough. Don't run and tinker with your Chordal core too much. You want to basically leave it alone. It will get off chain sometimes and it'll revert and come back on. Patience is usually the best method. And usually the best way to correct any problems is to simply restart the Chordal core. If it still stays on a fork or isn't moving off, that's when we would go to the next step here, which is if that fails, execute what's called a force sync. So inside of your terminal or inside of your command prompt, you're going to type the following in red. That curl x post basically is telling your system that you want to attach your node and forcibly sync it to another peer node. So what are you going to do? How are you going to find that peer node? You're going to go back into your Chordal user interface, into the Node Management tab, and you will input the IP address and the port of that node. You can see here I've just typed 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a placeholder, but you'll put in the real IP address of a node from a peer that's at the top block height, and you are telling your node to go find its way to that specific node, which will take you off the fork and back onto the main chain. It'll look something like this. Now I expanded my terminal to look a little funny for you guys, just so you can see the whole string, but that's exactly what I would type in. I would enter that command into my terminal, and you're going to get one of two results. It's going to tell you no reply, and that just means that your node lost connection with that peer. Go find another peer that's at the top block height and go try it again. You can see here by the time that I tried this, the top block height is now 371,508, and I'm basically still stuck on that fork at 371,274, which I think is the exact same height that I showed in the last screenshot. So if you get no reply, just try it another time with a new peer. If it appears that your terminal or command prompt is doing nothing, it is just a blinking cursor, that means the force sync is working. Don't touch it. Don't close your terminal window. Just minimize it, and you can basically just leave it alone and let it work its magic. It took me about 30 minutes or so. My node started rolling backwards, so the block height started decreasing, and then eventually it got back up and fully synchronized as well. So this is a very good method to get you back onto the main blockchain and unfork yourself. So guys, reclaim your authority, control your reality, and unfork yourself.